Hi, Morgan Freeman here. I want to talk to you about a serious, rare heart condition called ATTR cardiac amyloidosis, or ATTR-CM. Now, I don't have the condition myself, but if you're living with ATTR-CM, it's important to know about treatment options like Attruby, also known as acoramidis, because you have the power of choice when it comes to treatment. Attruby is an old medicine used to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization due to heart issues. Tell your doctor if you're pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding, and about the medications you take. The most common side effects were mild and included diarrhea and abdominal pain. If you have ATTR-CM, talk to your cardiologist about Attruby or visit attruby.com. That's ATTRUBY.com to learn more. It's time to get busy living.
Have you ever had to put your plans on hold due to symptoms of generalized myasthenia gravis, or GMG? Like taking that weekend trip, talking with friends, or enjoying a meal. Learn about a treatment option that may help. Visit treatgmg.com to learn more. That's treatgmg.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, and today we're back talking about the Connecticut Sun on a beautiful Mother's Day. Kristen, how are you? I'll lead with it.
I'm great, John. It is a beautiful day today. Definitely feeling warm and like summer finally.
Spring.
Well, it feels like more summer.
True.
It's like 80 today.
That was a beautiful day.
Yeah, beautiful. We're congratulating Allie Quigley and Courtney Vandersloot on having their first baby.
Yes. I revealed on this Mother's Day in our chat. However, we should say that Kristen and I have known that this was the case for Sloot and Quiggs since we were in Miami for Unrivaled. While we were hanging out at the pool, we saw the two of them just hanging in the pool, Sloot was doing a little exercise. Quigley was doing a light exercise as well. But we noticed, I think Allie Quigley's pregnant, which is cool because we don't know Allie Quigley. We didn't get to watch her last year, but like I knew her from the COVID ESPN horse competition. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Allie Quigley there, because that's definitely Sloot. And we know that they were married. And then to finally get confirmation, because it was very kept under wraps, that she was even pregnant.
Right. We like looked that up when we were there. Like, oh, Allie Quigley pregnant, and like nothing was coming up.
Nothing.
We were like, oh, maybe
they're just trying to keep it quiet, even though she was there for Unrivaled, which is kind of funny.
Right.
But like maybe she didn't go to a game in person. I'm sure she
I don't remember ever seeing her.
But what was really funny is like after we were back from Miami, there were people in Reddit threads that were like, Allie Quigley needs to come back to the WNBA. And I'm like, bro, she's not going to do that. At least not right now. So congratulations to a beautiful picture that we got to see of Sloot and Allie Quigley and their new baby and Jem, their dog, who we know of because we did a bracket of 32 dogs at the WNBA. You should listen to that if you haven't. If you are new here, welcome. Very happy to have you as we continue through these teams in the lead up to the 16th WNBA season, or the May 16th start of the 2025 WNBA season. We've only got 3 teams left, and we're going to be closing that out over the next couple days. But if you'd like to reach out and let us know how you're feeling, you could send us an email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or you could connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. Before we talk about the Sun, I would like to say, heat check on myself. I was wrong about Elizabeth Kitley, not an international player, simply tore her ACL and was suspended a year, I should say, and then came back for the Aces. I talked about this when we talked about the Aces, about how I'm questioning whether or not Kitley will make the team, but I got an outpouring of messages saying Kitley's quite good and would be a lottery pick level player. I can't say I've seen it, but it's likely probably a matter of that ACL injury. So it's kind of a shame if we're going to lose, what would be a very productive player to the effects of an injury. But we'll still see. The Aces have still several decisions to make in the lead up to May 15th's deadline. So we'll see if Kitley ends up making the team. But I want to correct myself because I was wrong.
Okay. Well, we are here today to talk about the Connecticut Sun.
Let's do it.
So the Connecticut Sun last year finished 28-12 in third place in the standings overall.
Right.
A very good team. However, is this like in the history of basketball, including men's basketball, there's never been the case like this where all 5 starters from the previous year are gone?
I don't know if we can say for sure in the history of men's basketball, but I do think it was the first time in WNBA history.
Well, yeah.
Very remarkable of a thing to do. Completely clear house of the starting 5. Not a single returning member. I mean, obviously there are some lingering pieces from last season. One, Marina Mabrey, who, folks around the internet would say is trapped in Connecticut, doing TikTok dances because she has nothing else to do. But yeah, that whole starting 5 gone. So when we look at the departure list, to name those 5, Alyssa Thomas, Bree Jones, DeWanna Bonner, Ty Harris, Dejanay Carrington, all gone, going their separate ways, doing their own things. Tiffany Mitchell also gone. Astoy Nader Fall also no longer there, as well as Veronica Burton. So a significant number of departures here, which signals to us that this team is going to enter rebuild mode. They're making that abundantly clear. They're not trying to pretend that they're in some, retool mode and that they're going to try to compete. No, they're not going to. It's very unlikely that they succeed this year, but that could serve well for them because they had some interesting rookie draft picks that could make noise for them in the future. And they have Marina,
who very much does not want to be there, who asked for a trade and they said no. Yes.
Yeah, requested a trade, one of a very vocal trade request that we have heard no further buzz on after she said. Basically, it was a 2-day cycle where it was pretty clear that no, nothing's going to happen here. And Marina said, all right, I'm going to go to Costco. And she might still be at Costco.
She's just cooking.
She's just cooking. Let's do the ads. So a number of arrivals, starting with their free agency moves. They signed Tina Charles, your GOAT. Tina's here. Tina's not ring chasing. Tina's chasing the bag.
Yeah, now I think Tina's chasing the scoring record.
That is your opinion.
That is my opinion.
Do you recall, like, she's maybe 3,000 points off, I think we said? Kristen's going to pull it up. I did the math the other night. It's not like something that she can accomplish in 1 season or 2 seasons or maybe even 3 seasons.
Yeah, she's 3,000 points behind Diana Taurasi.
Yeah. So I think on average she would need like 70 points or something. I mean, I could probably do the quick math.
No, she needs like 3 years.
Yeah, she needs like 3 years at like close to 30 points per game to make it easy.
Well, when we go through this, we can discuss the scoring.
Who's scoring the ball?
And here we are. Tina can perhaps score 30 points a game.
Correct.
So let's continue.
Correct. And Kristen wrote a whole thing about Tina Charles that I'm hoping that she can sometime share on our Substack. But we love Tina Charles in this house, so wishing her all the best. They also signed Diamond DeShields, and they made multiple trades. They traded for Lindsey Allen, and they traded for J.C. Sheldon. That was involved in the major trades that happened with Alyssa Thomas. So some of those shuffling around of moves. Actually, they had Rebecca Allen for a minute, and then they traded her for Lindsey Allen. They redirected her, and now she's over where she is.
Yeah, because Rebecca Allen had previously played in Connecticut and was like, I'm not doing this again.
She handled it a little bit better than Marina and got herself out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they briefly had Tosh Cloud.
Correct.
And Tosh Cloud is like, no, get me out of here. So they did trade Tosh Cloud also.
Correct. To New York. They also re-signed a player that was previously waived by the team in 2022, Yvonne Anderson, who's currently finding herself on a protected contract of $85K. So, Yvonne, welcome back to the W. We don't know much about you, but happy to have you here. And then they made 3 draft picks, Aneesah Morrow at 7, Sanaya Rivers at 8, and Ryan Marshall at 25. And they have a number of interesting training camp contracts that will likely have a shot at making the team. Layla Lacan is here, a player that was drafted by them last season, who finally came over and is looking to serve as a backup guard, at least in the start of her season. And then there are some other interesting figures that we're going to talk about as we go through this. So why don't you tell our audience the projected starting 5 of the new 5? The old 5's gone completely. We've got a new 5 here in Connecticut.
Yes, completely new squad. We have starting point guard Lindsey Allen, along with guard Diamond DeShields. We have Marina Mabrey, and kind of like forwards / centers, both of them, in Tina Charles and Olivia Nelson-Ododa.
I will say, now, we've been relatively busy over the last 3 or 4 days. We did not have a chance to check out the spectacle that was the Connecticut Sun beating the New York Liberty in a preseason game. But we should say Tina Charles sure scored the ball a lot. Marina scored. Nelson-Ododa scored. DeShields didn't play in this game, and we still haven't seen Aneesah Morrow and Sanaya Rivers, their rookie first-round draft picks. J.C. Sheldon was scoring the ball a ton. So it's interesting that they won that game. I think you can't make anything out of a preseason game, but I don't think that people should expect this to be the case. Now, could be wrong. Rashid Mezian, who is the national coach of Belgium, now the current head coach of Connecticut. A lot of people were talking about like, is Emma Mieseman going to come over? And we've said this in the past on the pod. Like, Emma Mieseman doesn't want to come and play for a bad team. So she's not going to come over to Connecticut. But now, like, I don't know, maybe Mezian is like an incredible coach and is able to like get a lot out of these players that are not star level. Sorry. Like, Tina Charles is a star for reasons, but like she's a 36-year-old power forward that is going to be asked to do a lot on this team. And I don't think that they necessarily can like rely on that to lead to wins.
Okay, so I have an article an article from The Next. And they basically interviewed like the whole team, really. So there's like quotes from a lot of the team here.
When is it from?
From today.
Oh, ooh.
Yes. So Rashid Mezian, brand new head coach, all new coaching staff on the Sun. He very much acknowledges that this is a new era for the organization. He says, our main goal is to rebuild a culture first.
Good.
We are not expected to dominate early and to win all of our games. Right now, we're starting a new cycle, so I don't think that we will talk about winning all our games.
He's so real for that.
It's very realistic.
Good. Because, like, honestly, Nakase in Golden State hasn't really used that rhetoric.
No.
She said, like, we're ready to win. We're going to find a way to win. A team needs to know what they are. And Connecticut, from this quote, seems to know what they are.
No, exactly. And like they're being very practical. He's saying, we are rebuilding. We're trying to be patient. We're building a new culture. We have good players, but we're not like a lot of other teams that have a lot of stars. So we need to think about playing as a team together and sharing the points and spreading things around. So, you know, the scoring responsibility is spread instead of only one player scoring 30 points in one game. Although we are rooting for that.
Although
for
we
Tina's
do want
sake.
Tina to score 30.
Everyone else, yeah, we can
Correct.
spread.
Well, you know, let's assume they score 70 points. You know, there's 40 more points to be spread around. Tina can have 30 and everybody else can have, I don't know, 6.
Right. So yes, the backbone of this new team is like very much comes from a practical place, which I really appreciate. Like you can't put so much pressure on players. Like players know the situation they're in.
Right.
So I feel like a coach that's just putting so much pressure on the organization to win and win and win is like not going to be a good environment.
Right.
You have to meet them where they are. And they all very much know where they are. Like, don't act like they're dumb. So I appreciate this.
Now, would you say that it's a good culture thing to have TikTok videos by Diamond DeShields laughing at Marina while she records her own TikToks?
No, this is very sad.
It's like literally the sound bite is like, what is she doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I really hope that like Marina's okay from that.
Well, I think Marina's building a relationship with Aneesah and Sanaya, which she needs to do.
Yeah.
Or else, like, I don't know. It's weird to say like, oh, or else Marina's not going to play. Marina probably doesn't want to play. Well, maybe she does. Marina just wants to get paid.
John very much is like, Marina's just going to sit on the bench and not because she doesn't want to play. That is not true. These are not men, baby men.
I know. Well, now that she played in preseason, I feel better about it. It was just like, I don't know. The whole like she didn't play that much in Unrivaled. She played like 2 games in Unrivaled.
Hurt.
I know. But like she was hurt for so long.
Yeah, that was weird.
I know. I just I hope it's not the same thing again, because I like watching her play. Like we've gone a long way with Marina Mabrey. Like when we first saw her, we were like, what's the deal with her? And now we're like, we stand because of everything that happened in Unrivaled. So
if we're talking really, let's just talk about the rest of the starting lineup. Marina Mabrey and Lindsay Allen, they know each other previously from being on the Sky together. Right. So that's good. They
Diamond DeShields as well.
Right. So they all, have some history. Tina Charles, as you said, is 36.
Right.
And a lot of also stuff in this article is about how Olivia Nelson-Ododa, who is 24 and is 6'5".
Yep.
So very tall, young player, is really looking forward to learning from Tina Charles.
Good.
And Tina Charles is 6'4". They're both classified as centers. I know you keep saying Tina Charles is not a center.
Well, I'm not saying that she's not a center, but she's gonna play the 4 and then rotate into the 5. Like they've started her in the power forward role early in this preseason. I'm just expecting her to be more of a forward than a center.
Sure.
But obviously, she can play both.
Okay, so it does seem like, it will be a positive thing at least for Olivia Nelson-Ododa, who will get the chance to learn from Tina Charles. Tina has been offensively, defensively, a great player. So that will be a positive thing on this team.
Totally. And I think we said this on draft night, but like Aneesah Morrow has a lot she can learn from Tina Charles too. Like Tina Charles is how tall?
6'4".
She's 6'4". Aneesah Morrow is 6'1". Aneesah Morrow is a small power forward. However, she has this ability to play up. She play a little bit bigger, then she may appear on the court. And I feel like Tina is a good person for Aneesah to base her game off of. Because, Tina's not afraid to, take a shot. She's willing to stretch the floor a little bit. Aneesah is learning how to stretch the floor a little bit. I just think that, like, being with a pro like Tina Charles is going to be a good thing for her. And Sanaya, who's, more of a defensive-minded stud, could also probably learn a lot from Tina. Now, we haven't gotten to see both of the rookies play, but I'm looking forward to seeing them once the season starts. But that goes back to this team understanding its identity. They're not forcing their rookies to play right away because they know they're going to be there. They're not going to cut them. They like who they have.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite? Realtor.com's got them. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back? Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Why don't I go over the rest of the team that we have making it? We've mentioned JC Sheldon already, Yvonne Anderson on a protected contract, Sanaya Rivers and Aneesah Morrow, and Layla Lakan, who they drafted last year, who came over, I would expect to make the team. So that leaves 2 open spots. And from what I could gather from their rotations in their preseason games, I believe it's 2 spots for for any of these 4 players. Amy Okonkwo, who's gotten a decent amount of run. Haley Peters, who had a really good first game and a much less good second game with the team. Robin Parks, who played the most minutes in the win over New York, like 27 minutes. That means they're like seriously taking a look at her to bring her in. And then Bria Hartley, who you looked into. We got an ESPN notification today about how she just signed with the team. We're recording this on the 11th. Cuts are due on the 15th. And I don't know, maybe the Sun have one more preseason game, but Bria Hartley, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about her? Because I had not necessarily heard of her.
Sure. No, Bria Hartley, the name sounded very familiar to me when I got this notification. She was drafted by the Storm in 2014, but was immediately traded to the Mystics. She played for the Mystics, the Mercury, the Fever, and the Sun when she was in the W. She got hurt a couple times, so she had been out of the league for a year or 2 previously. She was in Athletes Unlimited this past year and placed 10th.
Okay.
So now she's back with the Connecticut Sun, attempting her second run, her comeback with the Connecticut Sun.
Yeah. So I did just check. Currently, right now, we have the Valkyries and the Mercury playing, right? And then tomorrow there is an exhibition game between New York and another international team, this Toyota team from Japan, I believe. And that's it. There's no more. Maybe there could be closed scrimmages between some of these teams, but there's no more like televised action. So it's kind of weird timing for Hartley to sign on the 11th.
Yeah.
And to see this ESPN article, that kind of makes me think that she's going to make the team.
Yeah, it kind of feels like...
Which is weird.
It kind of feels like the team perhaps, wasn't totally happy with everyone else they had been looking at. So
Sure.
They went out and sought her out.
Sure. So where we came down, we have Hartley making it in a backup guard role. And then I also have Haley Peters, who's 6'3", to serve as a backup 4-5 for this team. That is pretty guard heavy or smaller size. If Aneesah Morrow is 6'1", like that means they're going to play smaller. So it helps them to have an extra big so that they can run stuff and learn from one another and learn to play at different sizes and do different schemes and figure out what is going to make this team successful in the future. But like, that's kind of it. I think their over-under in Vegas right now is 10.5 wins. I kind of feel like that's a pretty easy under to bet if that's something that you're feeling. But they did beat New York in a preseason game, and that may have been their championship this season. Strengths and weaknesses?
Let's start with weaknesses.
Okay.
One thing in this article that is funny, and we can talk about as a weakness in general, is it says, Aneesah Morrow has had to do some adjusting herself after being drafted to Connecticut. I'm used to being in the city, Morrow told the Next. This is really nothing like the city, honestly.
Okay. So weakness is players don't want to be around the Connecticut facility.
The Connecticut Sun play in a Mohegan Sun casino in the middle of Connecticut.
Right.
Where nothing is around.
Right.
And I think that is a legitimate drawback for players to want to be there.
Yep. I mean, we've talked about the 2-year-old's birthday party that, when they were preparing for the playoffs, split their gym in half. Like, this team needs to be serious or it doesn't belong in Connecticut. And now, obviously, there's like the idea of them moving to Boston. That would be pretty nice for Aneesah Morrow as a city girl to get to move to Boston. But right now we have no idea if that's actually a plan. So
no, we can't talk seriously about that.
No.
But then it also makes me sad to talk about that because I very much appreciate the fact that the Mohegan tribe owns this team and invests in this team. Right.
Well, I would hope that they would invest in better infrastructure that would make players want to actually come there.
Yeah.
They need to invest in a practice facility, plain and simple.
Yeah. So that's just a big reason why so many players didn't want to be there.
Right.
Which obviously very much hurts their future prospects.
Right.
Other weaknesses, which is kind of just a little weird, is injuries that have popped up with the team. Diamond DeShields has an ankle injury that caused her to miss training camp. She appeared on crutches this past week.
That's good to know. I kind of figured she was hurt, but I didn't see any designation.
She said it should only be a couple of weeks, so hopefully by the first game we'll see. I got to get back in shape. So I'm not really sure that she'll be back in the first week or so.
Right.
Aneesah Morrow has been out with a right knee injury. But apparently should return to normal activity soon. Good. They're being very precautious with her.
Right. And obviously, Sanaya Rivers is still probably away with family. We wish all the best to the Rivers family after the passing of her mom. Very sad story there. But yeah, I mean, and then Marina's had injuries over the last couple of years.
Missed so much of Unrivaled with an injury.
Yep.
And she came back right at the end. But it was very much what is she hurt with? all of Unrivaled was very much like very
Mystery.
mysterious
Weird reporting, yeah.
with their injuries, but Marina's was weird.
Right.
So I don't know.
I hope you're good to go, Marina.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
So, I mean, also like, I mean, just the depth, the starting
the depth,
five,
the inexperience, the
inexperience, right? The
size.
The starting five is not anything close to what we previously talked about with the Aces,
right.
But we know this.
Correct. Which I kind of will say a strength that we've already talked about is understanding who they are. Like, I think their identity is a strength because it's going to lead to them losing, which is going to lead to them getting a better pick and, you know, having an opportunity to grow. Like, they need to figure out how Aneesah and Sanaya can play together because they're on 4 years of contract with one another. If they're actually good and they pop, then you got 2 players. Go get 2 more. I think they have 3 first-round picks next season. I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do. So that's pretty huge. Yeah, they got one from New York. They have their own. And I think they have another one from a swap. So next year could be a huge year for them to do what the Mystics did, let's say, and get 3 new young bloods to add to Aneesah and Sanaya. And then you're cooking. And Tina Charles is there. That's a strength.
That's a huge strength.
I've got nothing else to say about the Connecticut Sun. I still look forward to watching them play, but I can't expect a whole lot out of them. Any other last thoughts?
Honestly, no. I really do hope that the rookies like grow and appreciate their time there and like learn to play together and learn to play with these vets and just like learn as much as they can. Yeah.
I hope what Rashid is saying is true and he wants to play good team basketball. And I hope that he doesn't get like scapegoated or cut because that's the type of coach that I want to have. One that's going to like build a culture.
Yeah. Who really knows where he's at and knows his role.
Correct. So wishing them all the best. Kristen, there are 13 teams in the WNBA. I think you know where you put them because the Valkyries were both our 13 team.
And we pretty much listed our 11 to 3.
Correct. Which means I have them ranked 12th, as do you.
Yes, correct.
Right here at the bottom. Hey, good lottery odds then, if that's going to be the case for Connecticut. Well, I think that's going to do it for our coverage of the Connecticut Sun. Again, if you'd like to send us an email, you could do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or you can connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. 5-star rating and reviews, helpful, help grow the podcast. Tell your friends, tell your family, get excited for the WNBA season that starts on the 16th. Kristen, I am staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back with our 2 final teams, starting with the Minnesota Lynx.
For more than 50 years, National University has been a military-friendly, yellow-ribbon school that understands the importance of honor and commitment. With 4- and 8-week classes available, year-round enrollment, and more than 190 programs to choose from, we help veterans just like you define the next chapter of their careers. Learn more at nu.edu. That's nu.edu.
And we're back, folks. It looks like Jim from sales just got in from his client lunch, and he's got receipts.
His next meeting is in 2 minutes. The team is asking, can he get through his expenses in that time?
He's going for it. Is that his phone? He's snapping a pic. He's texting Ramp.
Jim is fast, but this is unheard of.
That's it. He's done it. It's unbelievable.
On Ramp, expenses are faster than ever. Just submit them with a text. Switch your business to Ramp.com.